Welcome back to All the Things Music, the podcast, episode 7. Um,
Lucky number seven.
Lucky number 7. If you are
If you are
hot
evil, if you are evil,
and pretty,
today might be for you
um,
because we have a very special guest who just put out her album, Pretty Evil.
My name is Ellise, and I'm so excited to be here. Thank you guys for having me. And I just dropped my brand new album, Pretty Evil. It came out yesterday. So yeah, so excited.
we love the
We're,
album, by the way.
yeah, I was
Thank you.
I was gonna say, I was just out in California this week and I got home yesterday and I when I flew out there at the beginning of the week, the entire like 4 hour flight, it was Pretty Evil on repeat the whole time. So
Wow. I'm honored. Thank you. I'm so glad you both like it. I'm
yeah.
so happy it's finally like out into the world. It's just a crazy feeling. I haven't really processed it yet.
Well, you've been a little
Um,
busy.
yeah.
A little.
I was also I wanted to take my little fan girl moment at the beginning here and tell you that I found you back in literally 2018 when all the only song that you had out was Love Made Me Do It. Like,
That's insane.
yeah, so when I was in college, I was a big fan of Love Made Me Do It. So it's
Aw.
really cool to, so many years later be here and not only do you have more than one song, you have multiple albums and we get to talk and it's really cool.
That's so cool. That's such a full circle moment. Wow,
Yeah.
crazy. We were both babies when that happened.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now here we are. Here we are. I'm so glad that you liked Love Made Me Do It. That was like such a cool song for me because, yeah, it was my first official
Yeah.
release. And that was like years after I had spent so much time writing so much music that I was like, this all sucks. And then I wrote Love Made Me Do It. And I was like, okay, it's time.
Yeah. Well, I love that song and I'm glad that it brought us all here. So,
Thank you. Yes, me too. I'm super excited.
All right, we will move on. We'll talk about Pretty Evil. So it's now out. How long have you worked on the album for? Like, I feel like it's been a minute since you put out like a full-length album.
It's been a long time. Yeah, my first album was 4 years ago. And like I started working on Pretty Evil about a year ago. Most of the songs happened in summer and fall of 2024.
Hmm.
But a lot of them, or not a lot of them, but like Ballerina, Leech, Valentine, and I think that's it. We're all written more in the very beginning of 2024. But honestly, I've been making music and scrapping it for an album for like a good 4 years. Like I have so many versions of this album that didn't make it, and so many songs that will just never see the light of day. And so I feel like this album has been almost 4 years of process and like 4 years of just creation, but the actual songs that made it on the album, I've only been making for about the past year.
Gotcha. That makes sense. And how are you feeling about the release? Or I know you're super excited it's out. How are the fans receiving it? How are you feeling about everything?
I'm so happy. Like, honestly, I've barely processed it yet just because tour brain and so much going on. But even just like opening social media, seeing all the insanely nice things my fans are doing, like, my fans have been doing like fan projects, and I'm just seeing like the good memes and just the really heartfelt reactions and all of those type of things. And at the same time, like getting to actually meet fans face to face on tour and like look into the crowd and see that like there's three girls in the front row that already know all the words like before it's out. It's those type of things combined that have just made me so happy and so grateful. So it's been an amazing release weekend, I guess, so far. I'm really happy.
Aw, that's good. I'm glad.
is there one on the tour that's been like the one that like people have been really excited about or that they've known really well?
I think it's been pretty. I open my set with pretty every night, and by the end of this tour, like people have been singing it and knowing all the words. It's crazy. And I never really teased pretty on my social media or anything. So like it was kind of the sleeper that came out of the woodwork. And
Yeah.
because I've been singing it on tour, people were like super hyped for it. So I'm so happy.
Um, I think that I saw you say somewhere that like there was a song called Pretty Evil and it
Yeah.
got scrapped and then Pretty and Evil like kind of got added at the last minute. Kind of
Yeah.
what was that decision and artistic choice?
Well, it kind of started like this. I knew I wanted the album to be called Pretty Evil, and I knew that like the concept around Pretty Evil was like this concept of this like very polarizing love, where it's like it's really good or it's really really bad. And so we had made a song called Pretty Evil where the concept was basically like I'm evil but you still love me, and like I do these horrible things to you but you still take me back and accept me. So I'm evil, but you still think I'm pretty. And after we had made it, and it's a banger, don't get me wrong, like it's really good. But after we had made it, I just kind of felt like that wasn't really what I wanted to say. That wasn't like necessarily what I wanted Pretty Evil to really mean. So then that's when I sort of thought of the opener, Pretty, closer, Evil.
Yeah.
And I wanted Pretty and Evil to kind of be two sides of the same coin, where it's like, hey, we wanted to be together forever. We romanticized it, but it's really not that pretty. That isn't really what's the reality. And then at the end of it all, being like, you know what? We both did horrible things to each other. I never wanted it to get so evil. It just did, and things happen, and we have to end it now. So that's kind of like how the Pretty Evil concept became what it is in the first place, was through scrapping that original song and then making the two new ones.
I'm obsessed with that. Like, oh, the album concept and like the through lines and everything. Yeah, that really scratches an itch for me. I like it a
Thank
lot.
you. I'm glad because it scratches an itch for me. So if I can scratch that for others, that's like the goal.
And I mean, my ears may be deceiving me, but does evil lead right back into pretty?
It does. It does. There's in the intro of Pretty, there's like the little
Yeah,
so they're meant to kind of loop that way.
yeah,
It's
Wow, I'm
perfect.
so glad you caught that. Not
yeah,
a lot of
Perfect for
people
people
caught
that
it.
just like to listen on loop.
yeah.
Yeah.
Me? Um, I mean, the lead up to the album has had some cool stuff too. Like Dead to Me was on the Spotify Salt playlist, and Valentine was kind of a big one on the Madison Beer tour last year. What are some of your favorite memories from creating the album?
Oh God, there's so many. I mean, honestly, I would say just actually the making of the music was so fun. I met Arthur Besna, the executive producer, in the summertime, and that was kind of when the main bulk of the album was made with him. And like just meeting him and finally feeling like, oh my God, wow, I didn't feel like I was making amazing music for so long. I wasn't obsessed with anything I was making. And then all of a sudden, me and Arthur start working, and I'm like loving every single song. Like we're staying super late in the studio to finish it, and we're all just like so hype in the room. That was definitely some of the best memories. And also, yeah, I would say performing Valentine pre-release on the Spin and Tour with Madison, that was really fun. Like I'd never experienced performing an unreleased song for crowds yet, and to see people like already hyped for Valentine before it came out because of that just made that whole release like a lot more special to me.
When did that song like officially come out?
Valentine's Day.
Oh, cute.
Yeah. Valentine's Day was on a Friday, so we were like, it's way too perfect. We must drop it then.
Do you have any favorite memories already from this past weekend, just putting out the album?
Honestly, just playing the show last night and finally getting to say on stage, my album Pretty Evil just came out yesterday instead of like it's coming out March 28th. Like getting to say that on the stage and people cheering was really awesome. That was a great moment. So I'm so happy.
That's a good one.
Okay, so you kind of already talked about it, but let's talk about the album. So, how did you basically get started with this? Like, what was the moment or this? I think you mentioned somewhere that Ballerina was the first song that you made for the album. Was that like when you knew that this was going to be like a full concept album?
Honestly, I don't think I realized that it was going to be a concept album until after I made Valentine. I made Ballerina and Leech. I remember like back to back days. I'd made Ballerina one day and then Leech the next, and I knew I loved them both. And this was like January last year. And then in February, when I found out, that the subject matter for Valentine happened, that's when I made Valentine. And that like really rocked my world, like that betrayal and that breakup. So after that had happened, that's when I knew like, okay, I need to make a huge change in my life. Not only did me and that man break up, but also I had fired my manager, who was my manager for 2 years, and got a new manager who I'm so obsessed with. I love her so much. So there was a couple of really big changes in my life, and I knew, okay, I need to find a producer that I love, that I'm going to make stuff that I've never made before, like different sounding stuff than I've ever made before, and different subject matter than what I've written about before. So I think when I met Arthur in June is when I realized, like, okay, I'm going to take these few songs that I have that I love, and we're going to like build something so much bigger around them.
Well,
Was
it
there a
came out
first
really
song that you
well.
guys made
Thank
together?
you. Sorry, what was that?
Was there a first song that you guys made together?
Yeah, the first session we ever did was Dead to Me, and then the second one was Bite, and they were back to back days.
Wow.
Yeah. So immediately I was just like, I love you. Please executive produce my entire album.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah,
Um,
he's so great.
and were there any others besides Ballerina and Leech that came before those, or were those the first four?
Yeah, those were the first ones, and Valentine.
Yeah.
Valentine, Ballerina, and Leech were all a bit earlier. But yeah, everything else just happened over that summer. Like literally from June to September, I think we made pretty much every song on the album.
And I think that you said that like you knew that you wanted the album to be called Pretty Evil. How did you how did you make that decision?
Oh my God, can I actually be so real? It's so
Yeah.
funny and like not deep. Like I feel like I'm a very annoyingly overly deep person that has to make meaning out of and romanticize everything usually. But genuinely, I saw a meme of Megan Fox, and it just said, I may be called crazy, but never ugly.
That's
And I
so
literally
funny.
was like, wait, or no, it was I may be called I've been called evil but never ugly. And I literally saw that and was like, wait,
This
pretty.
might be something.
And at first, like it didn't have any real meaning. I just knew I liked the words pretty evil. Then I like made it have meaning later, but genuinely off of a Megan Fox meme.
That's
That's really
amazing.
funny. All right. So for the album, did you have any like inspirations, whether that be like other artists or obviously you talked about some life changes that happened. But was there any like big inspirations that went into the album?
I would say sonically, what I was listening to at that time really influenced like the sound of everything. And I feel like for a lot of the songs, I was very influenced, even though this might not make sense because the way I translate it out of my brain is not going to like really sound exactly like it. But I was listening to so much The Neighborhood at this time. I was like rediscovering The Neighborhood from my high school day obsession. And I was listening to a lot of Daft Punk at the time, a lot of Sabrina Carpenter. I feel like Committed for Life was very much inspired by like Sabrina Carpenter's music. Um, I always love Melanie Martinez. I was listening to Portals. And it's actually a funny story. I met Arthur because I had messaged another producer, CJ, who did the whole Melanie Martinez Portals
Oh, wow.
album. And I just messaged him and was like, oh my God, I'm a really big fan of your production. I'd love to work with you. And then I met CJ, and then him and Arthur worked together. And that's how I met Arthur. So indirectly, Melanie Martinez, thank you.
Yeah, for real. You can definitely hear all of those in the album though. Like it
Thank
definitely it came through and also like, I feel like they should just make another Tim Burton movie and use your album as the soundtrack.
I literally could die happy if that happened. Like, I just wouldn't need to ever accomplish anything more.
When Abby listened to the album before me and she texts me because I'm like a big Tim Burton freak and she like texts me and she goes, "Oh, you're gonna love it." Like
Oh, yeah. I'm also a big Tim Burton freak, so I'm glad we were matching each other's freak there.
Exactly, exactly.
Say, I feel like Committed for Life is like the dark pop version of like espresso. Like the
Thank you. Oh my God, best compliment. I feel the same. I feel like that is the closest to espresso we're ever gonna get from me. And like I just wanted to make something really funny. Even like the songwriting is so sarcastic, which I feel like Sabrina does so beautifully in a lot of her songs. So big Sabrina girl. I'm an OG fan. I've loved her since 2017. So yeah, definitely an inspo for me.
that's the first time I saw her too, was 2017.
No way. I regret
2017.
not going to the emails I can't send to her so
Me
much.
too.
Literally biggest regret, but it's okay.
I'm in Chicago and she played Lollapalooza that year, so she only did like a small like after show. So it was like impossible to get the tickets. And I was like, I should have just I should have just bought the resale and gone.
Now we're gonna be it's a whole different ball game now with her.
Right?
Yeah.
Literally.
The spin though, just the nuances of Committed for Life, just that phrase is
Yeah,
so
it's really
good.
funny. It's like a really good play on words.
Yep.
Thank you. That one is funny. I like it. It's so stupid.
But it's not. It's genius.
It's just unserious, which I
Yeah.
love. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Um, kind of on a more serious note, a connection point that you've had with your fans for a long time has kind of been open dialogue about how deeply music and mental health can kind of be intertwined. How has creating this project kind of influenced both your own mental health as an artist and as a person, and how do you hope that that kind of comes across for your fans?
I think Well, I definitely think I'm in a much better place mentally now than I was when I started making this album. Like, obviously, the album is about, getting cheated on and this sort of like big betrayal and this crazy relationship. And all of that keeps you in a state of sort of fight or flight. And when you're in that fight or flight state with someone that you've been with for so long and things are just so tumultuous, I feel like that can leak into every other part of your brain. So just being in this tumultuous relationship, also in a very not positive and just overall not great relationship with my old manager, I was just in this headspace of like, I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't love any music I'm making. I feel really uninspired. Um, I don't know what magic I used to have that made me make music I thought was good, but I think I lost it. And that was genuinely how I felt for years. Like every time I was making so much music, but that was really how I felt to my core. And because of that, and because of not like really believing in myself and even believing myself and the things I was writing about and saying, I think that just put me in a state of just depression. And I didn't even realize how depressed I was until these changes happen. And I literally forced myself out of this position that I had just allowed myself to be comfortable in for so long. And when I finally got out of it and finally had new people around me, new perspectives, like just a new like outlook on everything, that is exactly when I started making the album, loving the songs I was making, even like getting a better response from my fans. And I hate to, put value in numbers or anything like that, but when you're in the entertainment industry, you see something flop and it makes you sad, or something goes viral and it like gives you that amazing dopamine kick. So just all of these things, I think, shifting in my career along with the creation of the album, it was like the business side and the personal side of my life super connected to the actual musical side of my album, and it helped carry me into just such a better headspace. I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm still insane, but I definitely am doing much better.
Good kind of insane, happy insane, like
Yes,
doing things that feel aligned to like your purpose and everything.
for sure. Yeah,
Um, are you independent?
I am. Yeah, I'm with AWOL, but I'm independent.
Were you always independent?
Not always. I did start my career independent. And then in 2020, I signed to a label. And then in 2022, I left the label, and they were very chill and very nice about it and didn't try to like hold me down and, keep me chained away. So I've been independent for 3 years now.
That's so cool.
Thank you. Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
that's
fun.
amazing.
I love it. It's honestly so freeing, and it's so nice to just like get to make all of your own decisions. Imagine that. So it's been a good time.
Well, we have to selfishly ask because we're such big fans of the album. Are we looking at a Pretty Evil headline tour?
I will
Hopefully.
say 100% yes.
Oh
There
my
is
God.
going to be a headline tour. It's going to be announced soon. You guys will get the inside scoop. I've been telling people on this tour, like, hey, I'll be back. Let me tell you the date. So I've been spilling the beans to everyone. But there will be a Pretty Evil headline tour. And I'm also working on even some international touring later this year. So it's
That's
going to
so
be good.
exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I will be there.
Yeah, we'll
Yay!
be there. We
Yay, it'll be my first headline, so that'll be like
Oh,
so fun. We'll hang.
that's so exciting.
I know me and Abby were like, okay, we got to be on the barricade. We're gonna be headbanging to Leech. We'll be like, we'll just be bringing the vibes for everyone.
I can't wait. My favorite thing to do is go up to barricade and headbang with whoever's headbanging the hardest during Leech and Bite. So like, yes, we'll be clashing, getting put
Okay,
downs.
perfect, perfect. I'm looking forward to it. I might get a concussion, but it's fine.
Honestly, me too, girl. We'll be fine. We'll go to the ER after an ER date.
Okay, perfect, perfect.
Are you gonna make any vinyl?
I am. I'm about to drop the vinyl so soon. I'm making so much cool merch for this album. And I have two different colorways of the vinyl, which I'm really excited about because they're super different colorways, but like somehow both of them work well with the cover art. And then yeah, CDs and just a lot of other fun merch.
Oh, I'm so
Ooh,
excited about that.
all it ready.
Yay. I know, I'm so excited too. I love making vinyl and CDs. I love making like apparel too, but vinyl just has such a special place in my heart. Yeah.
Um, so do you have just kind of in general any favorite memories just related to music overall?
That's such a good question. That's a hard question.
Yeah.
Honestly, I don't know if I can pick like a favorite memory. There's definitely highlights that I'm like, wow, this was a really good time. But I just think I'm very grateful for the life I've had for the past 7 years that I've been doing music. I feel like my adolescence, my like teenage, early 20s, like college age era was all spent in LA being an artist and getting to do music, which I'm like never taking for granted because that is such that's a thing not a lot of people get to do. So I'm very grateful for that. And I think just like being in LA from such a young age by myself and having to sort of like just figure it out and throw shit out. Oh, sorry. Can I cuss? I
Yeah,
don't
go
know.
ahead. You can
Okay.
cuss. Don't worry about it.
Okay. And just having to like throw shit at the wall and go through like so many lessons and so many amazing
Yeah.
times too. Just that in general and how it's shaped me is probably like the best memory of all. Like I'm just really happy with how things have gone. I feel like, you spend a lot of time being like, I wish I was this, or I wish I was that, or I wish this was different. And this year I'm trying to practice like, you know what? No, I'm happy for the way things have happened and it made me who I am. So, favorite memories, just like figuring it out, just making it happen and trying my best year after year.
That's awesome. Like the everyday is kind of the best part of it rather than like the big exciting moments and everything.
Exactly. Those moments are amazing and like you celebrate and you need those moments for like morale, you like the team, like everyone needs it. But I think the day to day of just like working towards those moments is really that's the part where you're like, oh, this goes by fast, but it's actually we're laying all the foundation.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't take a moment like every day and like whatever crazy things are happening, then you look back and you're like, wait, what the heck happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. You're like a month later, like, what have I been doing?
Yeah,
What's
you're
going
like, did I just disassociate that whole time?
on? And the answer is like, yes.
Pretty much.
In
Pretty
my
much.
case, at least.
Oh, I do the same thing. Okay, so we like to kind of end with a funny question, a less serious one at least. Do you have a song of the day? Like, it doesn't have to be your own song, just any song that you're listening to today.
Let me tell you, I'll tell you my most recent Spotify like. That can be the song of the day. Song of the day, Veridis Quo by Daft Punk.
Ooh.
Ooh, good one.
Good one. There we go. I don't know if I pronounced it right, so hopefully people don't come for me.
You
I
know, when
wouldn't.
when we make song names more complicated than something like leech, how are we gonna pronounce them right?
Exactly. I'm big on one word titles.
Yeah.
One word, phonetic spelling, like just keep it nice and simple, you know?
Yeah.
And
All
then
right.
last question, do you want to like tell everyone where to find you on social media?
Yes. Thank you guys so much. I'm Ellise. You can find me on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at Ellise with two L's. And you can stream my new album, Pretty Evil, now wherever you listen to music.
Yay!
Love making music for like pretty girls. Such a slay.
That's the only people that can listen. No, I'm just kidding.
No, exactly, exactly. Make music for the baddies and the crazies, and that's that.
Yeah.